Hello, everyone, and welcome to the State of MMA Today. If you're new to the channel, which most of you probably are, or you're just stumbling by, hold on tight and get ready for a very different MMA show. This is how things are going to go here in the Green Screen Studios. We talk about fighters and help share their stories. Also, we support our MMA communities. Take a look around. We're going to be sponsoring random gyms throughout the country, throughout the world, local and afar, small, big, by putting their images up here, right behind me in the green screen, and doing a little talking, promoting whatever they would like to do, whatever we'd like to say. I'm going to reach out. They'll reach out. We're going to see where we go from there. That being said, if you have a story to share or a gym that needs promotion, I will try to help with these green screens. We'll showcase different gyms from around the world, obviously. I'll also be picking random fighters whose story I'd like to share with you as well. And I think the MMA community is going to want to hear a little bit more from or about them. Or maybe you've only heard a little bit and you want to know more, but no one's really talking about them and you don't know why. We're going to go into that. We're going to find that out for you. We're going to reach into those and find out, give you that information. Try not to have bias. There will be some, but we'll be as fair as humanly possible. So, without further ado, let's get this thing started. Well, first off, number one priority is going to be the event coming this weekend, UFC 225. We're going to break it down. We're going to get into it a little bit. We're also going to talk about the lack of some promotion that's going on with the undercard and some of the female fighters. One of them is going to be our spotlight for today. Da-da-da. Our MMA spotlight, or MMA fighter spotlight for the day, just so you guys know, will be Megan Anderson. If you don't know about Megan Anderson, you never heard the name before, maybe you call her Megan, maybe you don't know what it is, we're going to fill you in a little bit. We've got all the bullet points you need to know, a little bit more, where you can find her, what she's doing out there, and why the UFC isn't really talking about her that much. Well, let's just start out with UFC 225 first. And we're looking at the card. If we start, let's start from bottom to top. The UFC Fight Pass early prelims. Da-na-na, da-na-na. It's actually pretty stacked. This whole card is completely stacked. Let's see here. We've got, oh my goodness, I think I see Clay Guida in there. Yeah, we do. Santiago. Mike Santiago versus Dan Inge. Don't really know too much about him. If you're going on records alone here, you've got Mike Santiago with a 21-11 record, higher KO TKO percentage, looks pretty well rounded both sides. Dan Inge, or Dan Dynamite Inge, I don't know exactly how you say that, IGE. He's 8-2. So he's got a lower, experience than the other guy over here in Santiago. And they're fighting at 145. Don't know much about them. That's why they're in the prelims. But then all of a sudden you skip right over. One over. You've got the Carpenter, the legend himself, Clay Guida, and Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira's been a little salty streak going on here recently. He's got a 22-8 record. He's kind of struggled. It seems like every time he gets a win, he gets a loss. You don't really know what's going on. You don't hear from him too often. Clay Guida is the gatekeeper of all gatekeepers, I guess you want to put it at this point. He has a 34-14 record. He only has a 21% KO, 38% sub, 41% decision. You flip it the other side, Oliveira's going to have a 27% KO TKO, 64% submission, 9% decision. 9% of his fights go to decision. So if you're looking for something fun, this fight is your sleeper early card. Just get your engines revving fight. Love it, like it, moving on. We've got Joseph Benavidez sleeping down here in the early prelims, which is beyond me. But when you start to look up above, there's one fight coming up in the FS1 prelims we're about to get to that this fight should or been swapped out for. Maybe you can argue that. But anyway, if you don't know who Benavidez is, you've been living underneath a rock for a while, or maybe it's because he hasn't fought in a little bit. He seems to be the 100% the competitor that is always with Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's always behind him. He's always been his number two. Just couldn't seem to put the icing on the cake. He's from Team Alpha Male. Those guys are great. They are great fighters. It's a great gym. There's nothing really bad that I want or would ever want to say about Team Alpha Male. But if there is that criticism, it is the fact that a lot of their fighters have the same exact moveset. It's like create a character in the UFC game. All of a sudden you're going through your story and your stuff isn't working because you got wrestling and tight boxing, and that's great. That was great for Chuck Liddell, and it's going to be great as a foundation in MMA. You look at what we're going to be talking about a little bit later with the Ultimate Fighter, the show on FS1. You got their prospect Tyler Diamond on there. Look what he did. Go back and watch on FS1. This was a great fight, if you call it a great fight. It looked like Ben Askren. You watch a Ben Askren fight, dominant performance. Some people love seeing it. Hip ride on the bottom, maintain side control, mount, rain elbows down. And when I say rain elbows down, I mean do a little this, do a little that, little elbow in. You know, if you're going to get that, it's illegal, but they do it anyway. Just little pitter-patter shots. These things happen. That's what the fight is. That's what Team Alpha Male is. Benavidez is a little bit stronger in his stand-up in boxing. I really have always liked him. He's super fast. I mean, geez, these guys are always fast at this, at 125. So you really can't go wrong with that. But he's fighting Sergio Pettis. Anthony Pettis' younger brother, up and coming, 16-3 record. If you compare it to Benavidez, has 25 wins and 4 losses. I'm going to say, I'd have to look it up, but we're going to say at least 2 of those losses, probably 3, are to Mighty Mouse, who is by far, pound for pound, the best fighter in the UFC, if not on the planet, period. You look at his wins, you look at who he's fought, how many times he's fought, doesn't really back down from anything. He wants to maintain his division and be the best at his division of all time. Some people don't like it, some people do. It is what it is. Predictions. I'm going to go with Benavidez in this fight just because I'd love to see him get back to the top. It's been a while. Pettis, for me, is a prospect, and this is a big fight for him. If he wins this, he's got great things ahead of him. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes with that. And then you've got the wily old veteran, Rashad Sugar Evans, looking for a win, looking to get back on top. He's had some issues with health. If you remember, New York didn't clear him, but New York doesn't really clear anybody anymore, it seems like. It seems like they're just salty in general about the UFC and having MMA in the community and not being what they want it to be. Hold on. Let's get this in order. There we go. I don't know. Anthony Smith is who he's fighting. Anthony Lionheart Smith. I don't know much about the kid. Maybe people know a little bit more. He's got a 28-13 record. It's a little salty, in my opinion, with the 28-13. Again, I don't want to say this, but I'm not picking Rashad. I'm going to pick this guy, Anthony Smith. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. I haven't seen enough of Rashad. I don't know where he's at. You look at the UFC, god damn, that picture looks fresh. He looks like he's in shape. Is that from now or is that from like 2007? I mean, he's got maybe it's a Reebok fight kit. It doesn't say Reebok anywhere. So how old is that picture? We don't know. Enough. I'm not going to rag on him. Holy shit, this is the fight I was talking about. We're out of the early prelims fight. If I had to pick a fight to watch in that one, you've got two. Guida and Oliveira, Benavidez and Pettis. Tune in to watch those fights. If you have Fight Pass, don't miss it. Come back and watch it again. It's absolutely amazing. All right, so you have Rashad Daywalker Coulter versus Chris De La Rocha. Rocha. I don't know what to say. Powerful dad bods? I mean, Chris looks like he's just sucking in a gut over here with some saggy man boob love handles going on. Can you guess what weight division it is? Anyone? Yeah, that's right. It's heavyweight. Absolutely heavyweight. Rashad Coulter looks like he could be jacked or is jacked, but this picture doesn't do him any justice. So maybe he is jacked. I have to look at it a little bit more. I feel bad for Chris. Looks like he's going to get the brakes beaten off of him. I love the name Daywalker. But again, I don't think this fight should be there. I mean, they're trying to bolster the heavyweight division, which is why there's a fight on the main card that probably shouldn't be on the main card, but we'll support Tuivasa because I think that's going to be awesome. But anyway, with this one, let's go Rashad Coulter. I mean, he's got 100% TKO KO, so he's just knocking bitches out or getting knocked out. That's just the way that works in the heavyweight division. I'm all about it. And next you have the other wily veteran of the 145-pound division, 155, 135, depending on where he could go. This is Ricardo Lamas, the bully. The Lama Lamas is what he is Big Brown himself would call it. Number 7, going against Mirstad Beckett. Bektic. He's from Bosnia, so not really well up on my Bosnian. Great record of 12-1. I think you're going to see a change into the guard in this fight. I don't look at Lamas as a pushover by any means. I think he's really strong. I think he has great takedown defense. His power in his hands, when it's there, it's there. He can just light people up. So you don't ever take away from that. I don't know where he's at in this far in his career. He's got an 18-6 record. Oh, do they have his age here? Let's find the Lama Lamas and see what his age is for us real quick. If they give us his age, 36. So this is his end of his prime. End of the prime. You got about 2 more solid years before you look at it and go, I think I'm done. I don't know. He's got a degree in exercise science, so, that could work out for him. He's right from around this area. He went to Elmhurst College. He's from the Chicago, fights out of Chicago. So that's probably why he's on the card in the first place. When you got to hate this, the summary, explosiveness, and power. Good. So glad. Good descriptives. Love that. We'll go with the underdog. Let's go from the Bosnian. Why not? I should pick the Lama Lamas, but I'm going to go against it. And you got one of my favorite sleeper women's fights right here at the 115-pound strawweight division. You got the number 3, Claudia Gadelha, versus the number 6, Carla Esparza. Wow, this is going to be a great fight. If you are sleeping on this, if you're not going to watch the prelims, this is why you should watch the prelims. This is it right here. These two women have put on countless wars in the UFC now. 15-3 record, 14-4, battles with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. These two are going to be gatekeepers / who you're going to see for a little bit in the next 3 years, bringing up the division and bolstering it. If you haven't watched these two women fight, do yourself a favor. Get some Fight Pass today and go find them. Watch some highlights. Support these two women. They are exceptional fighters. They come out to fight. They don't lollygag. They're there to put you away, take you down, beat your face in, and win the fight. They had a little 50% decision from Carla, but you look at it, she's got a 29% sub. Maybe she's a little bit more of a grinder than Gadelha. You look at her, she's got a 40% decision rate, 47% subs, so you could see a submission going on here. It's the women's division. There's not a lot of KOs happening, especially at 115 pounds. It's a little light to see that go on, but you're going to see an exciting fight. Don't miss it. That's the fight you need to see right there. The Cookie Monster, what is it? Claudina? I guess she needs to come up with a new name. Claudia Gadelha, it's an okay, fighting name underneath there. It's like a play on a hurricane, I guess? Whatever. Okay, call yourself the Hurricane. Claudia the Hurricane Gadelha. Welcome to the UFC. Bruce Buffer announcing today. Here is Claudia the Hurricane Gadelha. I don't know. New career. Never. I don't know. We'll see what's going to go on there. And then we're moving up and to the very, very old and very wily veteran, Alistair Overeem. Number 2 in the heavyweight division. The Demolition Man himself. Well, I don't know what to say right now. The last time we saw him, he got his head just exploded and rocket shipped into the outer parts of the universe from Francis Ngannou. From a guy who, after we saw him fight Stipe, has 0 grappling and wrestling skills. It looks like he's never seen a takedown in his life. I don't know if he knows how to wall walk. I don't know. It was sad. I feel like Alistair, if he wouldn't have gotten into the brawl, wouldn't try to say, I'm going to be able to knock him out, I'm the better striker. No shit, you're the better striker, Alistair Overeem. You are by far one of the best strikers the UFC has ever seen. I mean, K1 Grand Prix champion. Do we need to say any more? No. But he's got a great jiu-jitsu game. He's got a great guillotine. He's got a great ground defense. He can control people. Ngannou's a little bit bigger, but I feel like he could have won that. Didn't make smart decisions. Now he's going to be going up against Curtis Blades. And if you don't know who Curtis Blades is, he is a dominant wrestler and takedown machine who's going to put the power on you, and he's going to push the pace. Cardio for both guys, we'll see where that goes. It's the heavyweight division. It's only 3 rounds. So we don't really have to worry about them gassing, hopefully, too hard. My fear of this fight is you're going to see a lot of cage hugging. You're going to be pushed up against the cage, and they're going to, fighting. Hand fight, play fight, look for underhooks, looking for whizzers, not a lot of damage. I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe Curtis Blades has brushed up a little bit. What I'd like to see is the growth of the division. As much as I like Alistair Overeem, if he loses, that opens up a spot for Curtis Blades to jump in to the title contention. You got Daniel Cormier fighting Stipe Miocic. Shout out to Stipe. I hope you're going to win. Cleveland proud. There you go. If he wins against Cormier, now you have the guy in the heavyweight division. He's just the guy. So you got the champion. Who else is going to challenge him? Curtis Blades isn't as well-rounded, but he's a better wrestler than Stipe. He's got the better pedigree. Maybe that'll work. Maybe Ngannou gets a little bit better. You have to cultivate the heavyweight division. It's dying out a little bit. It's the old folks' home of the UFC when you look at it, which is very, very sad. I mean, we looked at it earlier. When you have the Coulter and De La Rocha's fight on the prelims over Clay Guida and Oliveira, Benavidez Pettis, Evans and Smith, there's a reason why, and that's because they're trying to build the division. They're trying to showcase our heavyweights, and they're trying to showcase Curtis Blades here. So, hats off, UFC. You're doing something really well here. They're doing good. You can't always hate on the UFC. It's quick to jump at them, but you can't always do it. At this point, they did really, really well. Next up is the main card. We finally made it to the main card. You've got... Who is it? Wait, CM Punk? Huh? He fights? Oh, yeah. We saw the first beatdown, I guess you want to say. Not fight, but the beatdown. And he's going to be fighting Mike Jackson. Mike the Truth Jackson. And some would say that this is the biggest blemish on the UFC to date. Because you have an 0-1 versus an 0-1 on the main card. Let that sink in. Let that go through your brain a little bit. Calm your emotions. Relax. I know you want to punch things and break holes through walls. CM Punk versus Mike Jackson does one thing and one thing only. It brings new eyes to the UFC. Could they have done this in other ways? Probably. But are you going to get as many people to watch? Because we're going to have so many people buy this pay-per-view because they love CM Punk the wrestler. The WWE fans. The guys who would watch Monday Night Raw. That are buying every single WWE pay-per-view on the weekend. That are subscribed to the WWE subscription monthly. Watch all the Raw you can and old fights just like the Fight Pass has for the UFC. They're all going to come out and watch this. They're going to see this. The casual fan might come out because they heard of this guy. Maybe they're going to go check him out. The sad part about it is what's the product? What's the quality of the product? If I can get you 1 million viewers, and then those 1 million viewers come and watch you, and all you're doing is stare, and I sat here and I stared at the screen, how many people are going to come back? Right? How many people are going to come back and watch? If he doesn't win this, and win this dominantly, he's got to go. You got to cut him. He's got to be out of here. You can't have it. It's a spectacle. What the UFC has going on here is they're having the early fight pass. They're having the prelims, which I like. I love. If you're going to do that, you need to do early prelims on what is... We'll talk in a minute because this is going to be after this. We're going to talk about ESPN. But for now, it's Fox. So for Fox, what they should be doing is have your some major headliners like they have Overeem and Blades, Gedalia, Esparza. Put those up there and have them on cable television for everybody that has cable television to be able to watch and to see these guys fight. It'll be a lot of fun. It brings more eyes, free eyes, and hopefully it brings you to watch the main card. But then you have no one's watching the early prelims. Just the hardcore fans are watching that, and you can't have that. So what do? You either come up with a different divisional style like you have in baseball, where you have the minor leagues, but it's still affiliated with MLB. Or with basketball, you got the summer leagues that go on. You have there's other programs to help bring up and cultivate these young fighters. If you want to put that on, what's the version of the WWE NXT next, right? We got that. Dana White Looking for a Fight came out. Then we've got, I forget what it's called now. It's Dana White's Contender Series. There we go. The Contender Series. Do that. Put them on that. On like live television or free streaming. Stream it on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. To get eyes on these guys. Put it out there. Brand new on ESPN, streaming it. ESPN Plus. Put them out there. Make it like the next. These are not your primetime guys, but these are your underdogs that you're going to be wanting to root for. And I'm going to tie this in real quick to the Ultimate Fighter Undefeated. This season's amazing. All of them are undefeated fighters. Now you can make a show off of that. Off of this new upcoming guys you've got bringing in. And the fights. And you can make fight cards off of it. Just a thought. You got the Contender Series. Maybe keep Ultimate Fighter the show. Bring undefeated guys in or winners. Then they're going to fight each other on the next once a month UFC NXT card. Just a theory. Just throwing it out there. All right. I'm not even going to continue talking about that fight. I'm picking CM Punk to win because he has to win. That's what I have to say. And I have to go from there. All right, we're going to move on to the next fight, which is this is the card of wily veterans, I feel like, on here. Andrei Arlovski, the Pitbull, who I remember watching some of his first heavyweight title wins and losses and defenses, the Tim Sylvia fights, the teeth and the mouth guard and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing to watch as a kid. I was very sad because one of my favorite UFC personalities, old UFC fighters, is Bishop, and that fight was a little him and their huggy things they were doing. Then you got this man, Tai Tuivasa here. Bam Bam himself. Could be Mark Hunt. Powerful Mark Hunt body. Looks, if you took a picture, like went over his face just like this for me, this Mark Hunt. He looks like Mark Hunt. So, shout out to the 9-0 record he's got. Arlovski's got a 27-15 record. And again, I don't know where the UFC is finding these pictures of their older fighters. Andrei Arlovski looks like he's in great shape. And we all know when he comes to fight, he's a hard man to put away. The question with him this far in his career and late in now is his chin. How's his chin going to hold up? Can he take that punch? I hope so. He's one of my favorite fighters. But in this case, I am rooting for young heavyweight talent. Let me say that again. I am rooting for young heavyweight talent. Tai Tuivasa. Let's get it together, brother. Let's shrimp on the Barbie. Everything Aussie. Full blown. Let's go. Bring it home for the boys. All right? You know who I'm picking. Number 12, Tai Tuivasa. 9-0. Great record. 100% TKO, obviously. Let's see him win. All right, we got 3 more fights left on the card. I'll try to go through this a little bit faster as we move on, but there's a lot to be talked about here. A lot that I like to break down. All right, so we have the sadness of the card right now that frustrates me the most, and we're going to talk about this as we break this down. I was going to separate things here and not jump around and try to keep this what it is. You have the third fight on the card, right? You've got next you got your co-main event and the main event. This is right underneath there. You have Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson. Go to the fight card right now. UFC.com/event/UFC-225. I'm looking at it. You have the image of Holly Holm, and then you have Megan Anderson with no picture. It is nothing there. I don't know if you have ever seen Megan Anderson. Have you ever watched her fights? Oh, by the way, she's the champion at 145 for Invicta after Chris Cyborg left. They were supposed to fight, but Cyborg signed with UFC, so they couldn't fight. Joke's on everyone. I know, I want to see it too. How does she not have an image on their website? What are you doing? Who does the website? Who does their social media? Who deals with this? This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Why don't you have her picture on here? She's first team all dime piece. First team all dime piece. We're going to have pictures. You're going to see. I'm just going to show you. Megan Anderson in the spotlight. It's coming up. Don't miss it. All right. Enough of my ranting on that. This is a fight at 145. Now we're going to rant about that. About the 145 division, the women's division. You might as well just call it the Chris Cyborg. Because I went to go into rankings today, and I was going to go through, like, you got Joseph Benavidez is number 1. That's awesome. We got Pettis at number 5. Who's in between? Do they fit? I was looking around. I'm like, you know what? Let's see the 145 division for the women's. What's going on? I'm scrolling. Women's strawweight, flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight. No rankings available for this selection. Hold, wait. Excuse me? One more time. No rankings available for this selection. You have a division in which you just started being the women's flyweight and you started a show for, right? You got a champion out of it. You moved Valentina Shevchenko over there. She wanted to, whatever it may be. Who's going to drop back? You got Jessica I in there, Roxanne. Oh, that's Roxy. You know, she's the nerdy one that should have won before. Liz Carmouche is in there. She just bumped up. Lauren Murphy, Alexis Davis. Sorry, not Alex. Alexis Davis. You've got a list, and a lot of these people I don't even know. You got Paige Van Zandt sitting at number 14 in the flyweight. You got all those guys, the girls. Women's featherweight doesn't even show that there's a champion. Get that through your head right now. Think about that. Wrap that around your brain. You know who the champion is. I know who the champion is. The MMA community knows who the champion is. It's Chris Cyborg. This is what's wrong with the UFC and the women's 145 division right now. It's the Chris Cyborg show. And Cyborg has talked about this a little bit. So to her credit, I will give this to her. She is denied fighting Amanda Nunes. Didn't want to fight her. And her reasoning was very smart. She said she is the champion at 135, right? She's not going to stay at 145. It's just not smart for the division. And if Cyborg is going to stay the champion in her division, she needs women to fight. If they're not going to fight her, what are they going to do? Go down in weight class? No, they're going to fight her. You're going to have women that are going to want to fight her. Just like Megan Anderson wants to fight her. Just like Holly Holm did. But Holly Holm went back down. All these fighters are going back down. They're all 135ers that jumped up. You don't have a 145 division. There's no women labeled here. And yeah, you can say that in the men's divisions, you have men that fluctuate back and forth from 45 to 55 or 55 to 70. There'll be a couple. I'll give you a couple. But you don't have someone who's in both. Always. I mean, Cowboy Cerrone, look how that's going for him. Right? Should be a 155er. Kind of got forced around and bullied in a 170. Nate Diaz jumped around a little bit. Never should have went up. He's a 155er. Why is there not a 145 women's list here? Why are we not filling it for Cyborg? She's a destroyer of worlds. Destroyer of worlds. And she should have a division of women to cultivate and to get ready. Because guess what's going to happen to her one day? A Holly Holm's going to come around, just like it did to Ronda Rousey. And you're going to get a head kick from left field. Hadoosh! Good night, Irene. See you tomorrow, Chris Cyborg. Your career's done. You need something new. And wait for it, guys. You know who's going to do it? You know who I want to do it? You know who I'm going to underdog and jump on the bandwagon? Megan Anderson. Yep, you heard it right here. Right here first. Megan Anderson. Most marketable female fighter in the UFC. Not in the UFC. You said it right here. You heard it right here first. We'll move on to her a little bit later. That's the women's featherweight division. Sad. Super, super sad. Super sad. Don't know what we're going to do. Don't know what we're going to do. That is going to bring us to UFC 225's co-main event in Rafael dos Anjos versus Colby Covington. Excuse my typing. That itself, if that doesn't get you excited, that doesn't get you out of your chair ready to buy this, I don't know what will. So you have, and the best way I've heard it put right now is go listen to the Below the Belt digital video on YouTube that Showtime puts with Brendan Schaub, and there's an interview with Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen said, when Schaub said, hey, he's like you. He's got the promo, and he's spitting this, and you don't know where he's going to run with it, but he's just running right through the line, and that's where he needs to go. And Sonnen said, hold on, wait a minute. I don't think he's like me in the fact that the persona we know is fake, and we know it's not real. He did what The Rock did when he became the Brahma Bull. Everybody kind of got sad for a little bit, and then they tuned in, and then he became the biggest superstar of all time. What Colby Covington has on his side is a 13-1 record. Yep, 13-1 record. Wins by decision, though, 46%. Knocks people out. He's a grinder. He's got some power in his hands. He destroyed Damian Maia, picked him apart. Other than that, he hasn't fought anybody. Really? So we'll see. This is his ultimate test. Because in my opinion, Rafael dos Anjos does everything he does a little better. Little better. Just a touch. He's talked all this shit about Brazil, just like Chael did with Anderson, except a little bit more. He's challenged Joe Rogan, which in my opinion is a dumb idea in the first place, because you're not going to get a confrontation out of Joe no matter what. He's just that kind of a dude. But if you do put hands on him, he's a UFC official. Like work, I'd say not official. He's an employee of the UFC. Let's put it that way. He's employed by the UFC. So all you can do is talk. If he does put his hands on him, that's assault of a UFC employee, and the UFC has to take it very, very seriously. So for Colby Covington's sake, I hope he doesn't do that, because I would like to see him continue to fight. Play out your antics, rebel rouse with Joe, go back and forth, do whatever. Watch out, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, he's a black belt in taekwondo, he's on TRT. No USADA for him, no golden snitch. Good luck. Good luck. All right, but he's fighting Rafael dos Anjos, who I think he's going to, I think he's going to go through Colby Covington, to be honest with you. I hope he doesn't, but I think he will. Dos Anjos isn't out of his prime. He's still in his prime. He's one of the fighters that after the whole USADA that everybody might have thought that because he's Brazilian that he might have had some supplements he's been taking. That's why he jumped up from 55 to 70. What it looks like to me is it was an IV thing. I think it was an IV at cutting weight. Is once they told him he couldn't use an IV anymore to rehydrate, it just became too hard. So he had to move up. And now it's been easier. He's got more energy. He's stronger. He bullies people. I don't know. I see him doing very well and could easily win this. This is a toss-up fight. This is a banger. They're going to beat each other up. They're going to grind it out. They're going to smash. Rafael's going to come in very angry with emotions on his sleeve. And when he does that, he seems to destroy people. I love Nate Diaz, but when he came and fought Nate Diaz at 170, he broke him. He broke him. Or was it 155? I don't know. Correct me in the comments. I don't know. Correct me. Please do it. Let's go Dos Anjos. I'm picking him. I'm picking him. I don't know why, but I'm picking him. Let's go Brazil. Let's see how it goes. And finally, the hardest card to pick, the fight to pick, is Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero. This is a rematch from their previous fight. If you don't remember, I believe that Whittaker got injured in the fight as well, too. So that makes it seem even better for Whittaker's favor that he would win this. Yoel Romero comes out saying that he understands why he lost and that he's not going to take him lightly. And Whittaker's the champion for a reason. And he understands that now. And he's going to put in a little extra effort. What that means, I don't know. What does it mean for everything? Couldn't tell you. Was the first fight awesome? Hell yes, it was. Hell yes. Will I be tuning in 100%? Who am I going to pick to win? The Soldier of God, Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero won me over when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast with Joey Coco Diaz being the translator. And just to hear him talk and his passion and him coming over here and what he's doing and seeing how he is with other people and children and how he's just overwhelmingly positive. Do we have the same religious beliefs? Maybe. Not going to say. But we don't. Don't know. We don't, but we do. I don't know. I don't care. He's entertaining. And as Matt Sarah said before earlier, I heard, he might be the best guy to hear I love you from. Ever. I love you. Or however you say it in Yoel. When he was yelling, I love you, Michael Bisping. Loved it. Just amazing. You don't have to speak fluent English and be that well spoken to understand where he's coming from and the passion. His drive is unquestionable. His work ethic, unquestionable. His ground skills, unquestionable. Stand-up he's working on. Change camps, coaches, go to Coconut Creek, Florida, doing what he needs to do. He's out of Cuba. See where this goes. He could be champion at the end of the day. And you know what that means? A Whittaker-Romero 3. Sign me up. If this one goes like I think it's going to go, sign me up, please. Please sign me up. I'd love to see it again. Taking nothing away from Robert Whittaker. He has all the tools to win this. Whittaker has every availability to win this. Stops the takedown. He's way better standing up. He can pick him apart, dictate the fight, use your clinch game to move him out, get off the cage, strike on the way out, manage the distance. Keep in, keep out. Don't let him lull you to sleep. Yoel likes to move like this, and then boom, and then all it comes over the top. He does a left, follows behind with power. But he doesn't always do that. It's a lull. I got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We don't really know. Ladies and gentlemen, that is UFC 225 live Saturday, June 9th, Chicago, Illinois. Check it out. I know I will be. 100%. All right, moving on. We are going to be talking about a little bit about UFC and ESPN, the Fox breakup, and the Ultimate Fighter, the show as well. UFC just recently announced that in 2019 they are going to be partnering with ESPN, which is going to be similar to their partnership here that they have right now currently with Fox. Thoughts in the comment section? What do you think? Let me know below. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How do you feel? Do you not like it? Should they have stayed with Fox? Should they have left ESPN? I've got my thoughts about what they should and shouldn't be doing. I'm going to leave that for next episode. I'm going to leave that itself for next episode on what I feel about it. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think. Ask me some questions you want to hear answered. I'll try my best to answer as many as I possibly can. I'll leave you with this on that. I think I might like it. I think I might like them going to the ESPN. And I'll let you know why next time. Moving forward, we're going to top on two things that we didn't touch on earlier that everybody has to touch on. We already talked about rankings. I wanted to go through the rankings as well too. We went into that. I don't understand what is going on, why there's no women's featherweight rankings. Anyway, GSP, Conor, Khabib. We're all thinking about it. We've all been talking about it. Is it going to happen at 155? Is it going to happen at 170? Who's going to fight who? This is how I see it going down, because this is how it's Occam's razor. What makes most sense here? What do we really think is going to happen? Khabib can say all he wants. His manager can say all he wants. Conor's not deserving, blah, 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 this and that. Khabib gets skated by to get the belt. You got it from a guy who didn't even earn it, have it, or was allowed to get it if he won. Think about it that way. If Alan, I was going to say Alan Jouban. Not even close. If Khabib didn't win that fight, there's still interim champion Tony Ferguson, right? What are we doing? What's going on here? What are we talking crap about, Khabib? You can't do that. And with Conor, yeah, he needs to come in and fight. If he's going to fight, he needs to stop just taking time off and fighting. I understand it. He's got these issues he's going through. He just had a kid he needs to be with and take care of. I support that. I think the play is Conor, Khabib in September. The winner of that gets GSP in December or January. And by winner of that, I mean, I think it's got to be Conor. Khabib doesn't bring enough to the table yet. He doesn't have enough people willing to see him. If he comes in and beats Conor by destruction, not a close fight, but by destruction, dismantles him. GSP comes in, fights him, beats the brakes off of him, walks away with 3 different division championships, and says sayonara to the UFC and becomes the greatest fighter in UFC history. That's what he's looking to do. Maybe he comes back for more fights, but why? He just got off of colitis. You didn't know about that? He had colitis in his last fight. It's gone now. I think he said it's treating it. We'll see. I don't know. I think that's the play. I think that's what you're looking at. It is what it is. The rankings, we already touched on that a little bit. The Ultimate Fighter, the show, The Undefeated. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's on FS1, I believe, every Wednesday at 9 Eastern time. Don't quote me. Just go look. If you haven't been watching this, it's pretty good. You have all undefeated fighters. I love that format. If you did a Ultimate Fighter, the show, all undefeated, or one loss. Undefeated or one loss. Undefeated makes it a little bit better. Maybe if you had some really, really close whatever to fight. This has been the best season because every fighter has something to lose, and it's that undefeated streak. So they fight a little bit harder, in my opinion. When you see these fighters come in here and they've got 6-2 record already. Right? Well, they've already lost twice. And this is their shot. And sometimes they put it all out there. Sometimes they fight reserved. You know why they fight a little bit more? When something that's important to them. Yeah, the UFC contract's a big deal for them. Yes, they want to be part of the UFC. But they also know that that undefeated mark is huge for the ego. Huge for the ego. And the other guy's undefeated. So what does the UFC get out of it? At the end, they get an undefeated versus an undefeated to main event. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And if you're not watching it, you should be watching it. Great fighters. There's a lot of injuries going on. You got the 2 heavyweight coaches. Sad to see some of the injuries that are happening, but Dana's doing the Papa Dana thing and helping him out. Alan, if you pronounce his name, I can't remember his last name in there. He's from Costa Rica. Doesn't really speak any English. Great story. Needs to be promoted a little bit more, but great story. Absolutely, absolutely an amazing, amazing show to watch. Don't sleep on it. But if you're the UFC, do this again. Do more. Do more undefeated. Do a women's featherweight undefeated. Have a fight. Let's go. Let's get it going. You got some people for Cyborg to fight, to cultivate the division, to get number 1s, number 2s, number 5s, number 10s, number 15s. Let's make it happen. I would love to see it. I would love it. All right, guys. Now we're going to move on to probably my favorite part of what this show is going to be about. This is the Spotlight, the MMA Spotlight segment. And today's Spotlight segment is going to be on someone we told you earlier. It's going to be on Megan Anderson. You now to be probably UFC featherweight fighter here at 145. It's featherweight. Okay. She's fighting Holly Holm. It's a huge step. She was Invicta fighter. She just destroyed, I think, her last 4 fights. Let's pull that up. 4 fights, I believe, are by TKO. Let's see. She beat Amber LeBrock by TKO, knees and punches. Amanda Bell, TKO, head kick and punches. If you don't think that Invicta has people, look at Invicta 17 was Evinger versus Schneider. If you remember, Tanya Evinger just fought Cyborg. So there you go. Then you got Grasso versus Isabel Card. You got Invicta UFC 18. KO to punches. She beat Peggy Morgan. And then she wins the interim 145 belt against Charmaine Tweet. TKO, punches and head kick. Pretty dominant in her last 4 fights. Her full record is 8-2. She lost her very first fight ever. So, I mean, it was by majority decision. Can't say much about that. You never really know what it is. She was inexperienced. You don't know. And then she won the next 4. Decision, submission. And then she got subbed in triangle choke in her first Invicta. And then she went on to win 4 more right after that. Smashing through. I want to let you guys in on her story a little bit. You now know her fight record. She's Muay Thai background, style fighter, stand up. She's 6 foot tall, walks around at 175 pounds. Number 1 all dime piece. If you haven't seen her, go look at her Instagram. I believe her Instagram is Megan, MEGAN, capital A _ MMA. Go check it out. A lot of fun stuff that she's got on there. She tweets pretty much every day, so go in there, check her out, support, follow her. You're going to see some cool stuff. On top of that, she also does a fight breakdown. It's called the Aussie and Fancy Breakdown, which will be a link in the description below here to that. So you'll be able to go and see those. She does that with Laura Senko from the UFC. She does the broadcasting for some of the Fox stuff, the backstage questioning, and for Invicta broadcasting as well. They pair pretty well together. They do a pretty good breakdown. I think it's about 30, 40 minutes an episode. It's a good perspective from female fighters breaking down the fight, female fighter and announcer breaking down the fight. It's pretty interesting. The description is talking about them, and it's going to bring their latest collab breaking down fights. So it's pretty simplistic, pretty straightforward. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go support. This is the stuff the UFC doesn't tell you. They don't talk about. And why, I don't know. Because what's good for Megan Anderson is good for the UFC. If she's on there, branding has a popular channel on YouTube and breakdowns and is breaking down the fight, and it's super popular, and they're not talking about it or supporting it or backing it or trying to sponsor it in some way or getting Reebok to sponsor it in some way, why? Your fighters are what is going to bring the popularity to the sport. So maybe she reaches out and brings more women to watch MMA because of this platform. And you're not supporting it that we know of. Correct me if I'm wrong, UFC. Correct me. Let's see. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they're not doing it. It's a pretty good breakdown. And if you didn't know, we were going back to her record in the very beginning. Megan Anderson started fighting May 2013. What? What did you say? May 2013? Is that 5 years ago? Come on. No. Yeah, guys. 5 years ago, she walked into the gym. Never really played sports before. Soccer as a kid, a little bit. Non-athletic. Body weight issues and image issues. To Invicta champion. About to fight Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter, the Ronda Rousey killer. And possibly to go fight Cyborg next. Have you ever heard of her? Crickets. I don't think you have. And it's sad. This is how sad it is. And I believe that she's on one of the newest episodes of Embedded this week, which is good. And I don't know if there's going to be a countdown part 2, but if you watch the countdown they released, the 40-minute one, there is a snippet of Holly Holm. And that's it. You don't even see Megan Anderson. It's like they put her in this fight to lose. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think she's going to lose. I have her winning this fight. She's 6 foot tall, reach advantage, strength advantage, walks around at 175. Holly's not going to have a whole hell of a lot of power that's going to do anything to Megan. And if you watch Megan's highlights, she drops people with jabs. She has a very nice, clean, excuse all of this being in my way, step-in jab. So when she initially steps in, her face is covered, her hands out here, the straight jab is just prodding, and she drops people with it. Drops them. Absolutely drops them. She's got a lot of potential to move forward in the UFC. She's got a lot of potential as a role model. Yeah, that's right. A role model in the UFC. Who would have thunk it? She's not talking trash. She's not out there hooting and hollering and yelling and breaking things and partying. She's no nonsense. She supports mental health. She supports women's rights to an extent, I would say. I don't know because she's from Australia, it's a little bit different than being from here. A little different things going on. She's an advocate for women in the sport. And she's a well-spoken advocate. Listen to the couple interviews that she has, that you can find, and she has had with UFC. She's very well-spoken. She's a very smart individual. Listen to her podcast. She's intelligent. She can get anything that's on her mind across to you and convey it to you. Do yourself a favor and go check it out. UFC has overlooked her so much. She's not on all the embeddeds. She's come out with a promotional with this company, Engaged. There'll also be a link below on that. It's on Facebook. It's pretty much embedded for her, Megan Anderson. Why is she doing this on her own? She's supposed to be part of a UFC pay-per-view. She's the third fight on the main event for a UFC card. For a UFC card. Any card. I was going to say keep going on with this for this card. For any card. And she's doing this all on her own. Which more power to you. Keep it up. Megan Anderson, if you ever need help, you let me know. I will help you with all social media, anything you can possibly do. We'll always promote you and help you here at the State of MMA Today. We're just going to be there. I recommend you guys check out that link below. Support her. Go see what she's doing in training camp. She works with James Krause. If you ever watch the other Ultimate Fighter, the show, he's on there as a striking coach. He was on there as a fighter before, too. He's been a UFC fighter, is a UFC fighter. Also, she did a recent spotlight in the Women's Health magazine. There's going to be a link to that below, where she talks about loving her body and how she used to be bullied growing up for her size, being 6 foot tall and huge and different than any other woman around. And she wasn't your typical Instagram style model looking person, and how she struggled with that and how MMA has helped her. So again, role model, influence, positive female influence. Standing behind her is a smart move for the UFC. They're behind Paige Van Zandt, which is great. Amazing. But when you have someone who's as well-spoken as Megan Anderson is, and her fight record is great, and she's going to be challenging for a title, you need to get behind her a little bit more. You need to reach out to her. Bring her in. Show her these things. Help her out. Get her the time she needs in front of cameras. Get her the time and promotion she needs to be in front of these press conferences and meet people and the social media and the marketing. Reach out to your fighters and help them market themselves. And this is what we're here for. I'm not getting anything from Megan Anderson. This is not a paid sponsorship at all. This is me finding a fighter I enjoy and I think isn't talked about enough and spotlighting them. Megan Anderson is the spotlight of the day. All the links for all the things that we talked about will be in the description below. This lovely show, is not fully sponsored, but it is affiliated with Onnit, Onnit. You see, it's like right over here and here. Will have another link below for my affiliate link. If you buy anything through there, all of the proceeds and money that I get will be going directly into this and the promotion of MMA communities and fighters out there that need a little bit of help. We're going to be bringing on people that are amateur to professional, discussing plenty of different topics that a lot of these reporters are missing, taking away from a lot of the mainstream. We'll dabble in it here and there, but for the most part, we're going to go over what matters, who you're not seeing, why you're not seeing them, and who you might want to see more of. So if you have someone, you're thinking of someone, a gym you might know, tell me below. I'll do my best to see as many as we can, to reach out and see what we can do for everybody. It's going to work, boys. We're going to make this happen. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If this is your first time stopping in, please like, subscribe, hit that little bell. Because if you don't get the alerts, even if you're subscribed. I don't know why. You don't know why. We all don't know why. It's YouTube. Don't know. It's all up in the air. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Everybody out there that's grinding the MMA community, you think your story's not told, keep your head up, guys. We're going to try to reach out. We're going to try to make this a thing all the time. Once a week. 4 times then? 5 times maybe, depending on what's going on. We're going to talk about the fights. We're going to spotlight fighters. This is the State of MMA Today.